my yarny friends, I'm Sara Sach. Welcome or welcome back to my crochet channel, and welcome to Friday Fun Day. And our Friday Fun Day video for today is our May coffee cup that is a magnet or applique. You can add it onto your pillow or to your wall hanging like I showed you at the beginning of the video. Or if you don't want to make the pillow or the wall hanging, they all have magnets on the back so that you can put them on your refrigerator. So there are lots of ways that you can do our crochet along together. Last month we did our April showers, and this month we're doing our May flowers. I really like this one. It's really easy. We're just changing colors and then adding that dot in the middle, and it looks just like 3 sunflowers. Although today I'm going to do the demonstration, as you also saw in the beginning of those videos, and do sort of the opposite and make the cup in gold and the flowers with some white variegated yarn. But we'll talk more about that later. Now, if you want the pattern for the home pillow and wall hanging, again, it's a free Ravelry download, and I'll put that link underneath this video for those, and then you can find the links for those underneath those videos. All right, all the patterns for the pillow and wall hanging that have the word home on it, and then all of the magnets each month are all free Ravelry downloads. I wanted to keep it free because I want everyone to get involved if possible, because there's just so many ways to get involved in this crochet along. It's super fun. First we made the wall hanging and pillow. Then we made our first cup for January. This was February. This was March, April, and now we're making May. And we'll make one for each month, having to sort of do it that month. Not necessarily, but sort of. And they're all going to be different, as you can see from these 4 different ones. Okay? And so this is the one we're going to do today. You can find the link to the pattern with lots of pictures, as always, underneath this video in that description box. All right? And if you're looking for all the other patterns for it, I do have a playlist. And you can go to that playlist and find all the pattern links for everything. And it's just called the Home and Coffee or Coffee and Home playlist for 2025. All right. I hope you'll all get involved. It's a lot of fun. It's a great way to use up some leftover yarns. And you can custom your colors all that you want to. The whole idea of this is let's just have some fun together. All right, so what you need to make this month's coffee mug, magnet, and applique, of course, is some yarn. We're using all medium weight number 4 yarns. That way you can have some in your stash that you can use up. Because remember, even though I do things in a certain color, you can do in whatever colors that you want to. Now I made the original cup with white and did the flowers in a gold and the trim in gold, with brown French knots in the center. For our demonstration today, really white is really hard to see against this white surface, and so I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to just use this Red Heart Super Saver that I have on hand and make the cup portion. The flowers are going to be in this variegated that I have on hand, and it just has some different white and variegated colors. It's left over from a previous project. You can do white, you can do whatever you want. You could change colors for each of your flowers if you wanted to. All right, and then I just got a little bit of brown here to make the French knots for the center of the flowers. Now, if you wanted to put little beads or little buttons on those instead of French knots, you certainly can. Remember, use your creative juices. All right, we're going to stitch it up today with our H-hook, which is a 5mm, and then you're going to need a needle for weaving in ends. Forgot my needle. Here it is. And then you're going to need some scissors. And I have this here because this is actually a knitting stitch holder. If you want to take it off your knitting needle, you just slide it on here and then it just holds your stitches in case you want to use those needles for something else. But I'm using this to attach it to my wall hanging. I'm hooking it from the back, through the back, and that way I can change it out each month with this. You can use a safety pin. You can use Velcro if you want to. I didn't want to use Velcro. I do have a friend that is, and I didn't want to use Velcro because you have to put it on the pillow and the back, and I don't want it on the pillow in case I want to just leave the home out with nothing on it, okay? But that's an option. Now, as far as the magnets, this is what I bought. I bought this at the Dollar Tree. I looked it up because I couldn't remember where I got it. It has 12 circle magnets. You need one for each month, and that was $1.25. All right. Now, I also have some other magnets here from leftover other things that I got in the mail and stuff. You can do that also. Just use your leftover magnets, and they work just fine. Just make sure they're pretty thick ones, because if they're too light, it won't hold up the coffee cup. All right. Now, the other thing you're going to need, and this is an option, is some sticky felt. And what we do is we cut it out to the shape of the coffee cup. And I've already put one on the back of this one. And we just put it on the back. It does two things. It hides the back in case we had to, you know, you can see I went, when I did my French knots, you can see the line there. Well, it covers up the mess. The other thing is it makes it a little bit more sturdy. So when you put it on your hanger or your pillow or use it as a magnet, it has a little bit more sturdiness to it. Okay? Although when you're using some yarns like Red Heart Super Saver and some of those stiffer yarns, it's probably not needed. It's just something I like to use. And I use it a lot when I'm making coasters and different things to help cover up the mess on the back of my work. And you can see I picked this up at Hobby Lobby for 99 cents. And I just got a couple of white ones, but you can use any color that you want to. If you make this in blue, put blue on the back, red, you know, same thing. And I have some other colors. I have green, red, and blue also. But I'm just using the white right now. All right? So, we need medium weight number 4 yarns. You just need a small amount. I don't think even an ounce. And of course, these you just need a small amount of. You need an H hook, which is a 5mm, needle for weaving in ends, a pair of scissors, some way to attach it, and some magnets. And don't forget the sticky felt. And, oh, I did have a question. Someone wanted to know if they could use regular felt because I had it on hand. You can. You're just going to have to glue it on or sew it on. And I just like the sticky felt. It really attaches really well. I've never had any problem with it coming off, all right? And it's super cheap. I'm starting with my color 1, which is the main color that I'm making my coffee cup. We're going to start with our slip knot. And we're going to chain 9 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. All right. Now we're going to stitch a single crochet in the second chain from the hook. So here's the first one. Here's the second one. And now we're just going to place 1 single crochet in those remaining chains. All right, and chain 1. So, because we began in the second chain from the hook, we're going to have 8 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 single crochets for row 1. We chained 1. We're going to turn our work. We're going to stitch 2 single crochets in the first single crochet. 1 and 2. Now we're going to place 1 single crochet in each of those single crochets across until we reach that last single crochet. And when we get to the last one, we're going to stitch 2 single crochets in the last single crochet. And that way we've increased at the beginning and end of our row. All right, so here's my last one. So 1 and 2 and chain 1. All right, so we increased at the beginning by 1 and at the end by 1. So that gives us 10 single crochets for row 2. Now for row 3, we've chained 1. We're going to turn our work. And we're just going to place 1 single crochet in each of those 10 single crochets across. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, some more yarn here, 9, and 10 single crochets and chain 1. All right, so for row 3, we also have 10 single crochets. All right, now on row 4, we're going to place our first flowers. So I've got my yarn here ready to go. We've chained 1, we're going to turn our work. We're going to single crochet in the first 2. 1 and 2. But we're going to be changing color, so we're not going to finish that second single crochet. We're going to bring in our color, whatever color that you've chosen. We're going to leave our color 1 attached. There we go. And we're going to single crochet in the next 2. And you'll see how I'm going over that yellow, or gold, I suppose. All right. Now I'm going to pull that so that loop's a little snugger. We're going to stitch 1 more single crochet, but we're going to finish with color 1. So we have 2 single crochets in gold and 2 single crochets in our color 2. All right, so we're going to do this again. 1 single crochet, that out of the way there. 1 single crochet, change to our next color, and now we can stitch 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, but we're not going to finish it. We're going to finish it with our next color. We'll drop our color 1, leave it attached, and stitch 1 single crochet in the next 2. All right, and chain 1. All right, so we have 2 in gold, 2 in our color 2, 2 in our color 1, 2 in our color 2, and then 2 in our color 1. Okay, in order to get a nice crisp stitch, you need to finish the previous single crochet with the next color. All right, now row 5 is just a repeat of row 4. All right, so let's do row 5. We've chained 1, we're going to turn our work. All right, and we're working on the back side of our work now, so you want to make sure that your tails are on the back side. All right, so we're going to single crochet in the first one. We're going to single crochet in the next single crochet, but we're going to bring our tail of yarn to the back. We're going to grab that yarn that we're working with and bring it in, okay? Now we'll stitch over that tail of yarn and stitch a single crochet. We'll stitch a single crochet, but we'll finish it. Bring your tail to the back, grab that gold or whatever color you're using for color 1 and finish it. All right, so now we'll do the next 2. Okay, so I finished it with that one. I'm going to do the next 2. All right, we'll bring our tail of yarn back to the back, grab our gold or color 1, and finish the last 2 stitches. 1 and 2, and chain 1. Now don't tie off this. We're going to carry it up because we're going to make another one up here, all right? But your tails need to go to the back. This is how it looks on the back, and then when we turn it over, this is how it looks on the front. Now we're ready for row 6, and all we're going to do on row 6 is we're just going to drop that color 2 down, and we're only going to do a row with our color 1. So we'll just stitch 1 single crochet in each of those 10 stitches, working all the way across our row. and chain 1. All right, so we stitched 1 single crochet in each of those 10 single crochets, and that makes those flowers sort of pop out, doesn't it? All right, now row 7 is exactly like row 6. We chained 1. We're going to turn our work and just stitch 1 single crochet in each of those 10 single crochets across. And then on our next row, we're going to make the one flower that's in the center. And we'll do it just like we did the other ones. It'll just be in a different spot. Alrighty. So we have 10 single crochets, chain 1, and turn. All right, now we're ready for row 8, and we're going to make that one flower in the center. So we're going to single crochet in the first 4. 1, 2, 3, and on the 4th one, we're going to start our single crochet, but bring up our color 2 and finish it. All right, now we're going to stitch 2 single crochets, but on the 2nd one, we're going to bring back up our gold and drop our color 1. All right, so we did 2 stitches in our color 1. Now we're just going to stitch 1 in each of the last 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Chain 1. We're going to turn. Make sure we bring our strands of yarn to the back, and we'll single crochet in the first 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll bring our yarn to the back, grab our color 1, finish that single crochet, and then stitch 1 single crochet in the next 2, but finish the 2nd one. Bring it to the back with our color 1. All right, and then we'll stitch 1 single crochet in those last 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and chain 1. All right, so we've made our 2nd flower, and that was row 8 and row 9. 4 single crochets in our color 1, 2 in our color 2, and 4 single crochets in our color 1. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and cut off our color 1. There we go. And now we're just going to stitch 1 single crochet in each of the single crochets across. Again, we're stitching 10 single crochets. All right. Now we're going to chain 1. And again, we have 10 single crochets across. So we have 10 single crochets across, and we chained 1. We're not going to turn our work because we're going to work down the side, around the bottom, and back up, evenly stitching single crochets. All right, so we chained 1. We're going to go right in that first stitch and stitch a single crochet, and we're just going to evenly single crochet all the way down and around the bottom and back up the other side. So I have evenly single crochet down the side. Now I'm going to curve around the bottom. And we're not going to put 2 in the corner because we want it to curve around. And we're just going to stitch a single crochet in each of those chains where we started. And you'll see it'll just naturally curve around that bottom edge. All right, get that tail of yarn out of the way. And we'll just keep going around and curve around this side as well, because we want the bottom of our mug to be curvy. All right, and so I'm just going to work back up this side. There we go. Just single crocheting evenly up the side till we reach that first single crochet, and then we're going to chain 1. All right. Let's hide the strings underneath so we can't see them. There we go. And that's how it should look at this point. All right, so we've chained 1. Now we're going to turn our work this way and slip stitch in the first 3 stitches. So 1, 2, 3. We're going to chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to skip 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Join to the next with a slip stitch. Chain 1 and turn. And now we're going to stitch in the ear or handle, and we're going to place 8 single crochets around that chain 5 or chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to push those down. 7 and 8. We're going to join to that slip stitch with a slip stitch. We'll cut our yarn and we'll tie that off. All right, I'm just going to take it and make a little loop here. That brings it to the back. And then I can weave that in back there. Okay, we do have a few ends to weave in because we changed colors. All right, so there is the cup, but we're going to bring back in our color 2. We're going to join right to that place where we joined in that slip stitch. And we're going to bring that in. So we brought in our color 1, chained 1, and we're just going to stitch single crochets across. And this is just to give our cup a nice edge that matches with our flowers. And I love how mine came out as teal. I used that variegated, but it all came out as teal, and I love that. All right, and then we'll join to that last stitch with a slip stitch and cut that off. Tie that off, and again I'm just going to pull this to the back by pulling it under a loop. There we go, and that just makes it easier to weave in. And you can see we do have a few ends to weave in, and I'm going to do that real quick. I'm going to weave these ends in, and then I'm going to show you how to add the French knots to make those little spots of color look like flowers. I've got all my ends all woven in. It's all tidied up. So here's the front. And you think, well, that doesn't look like flowers, right? But by adding the French knots, or if you want to add a little bead or a tiny little button, you can do that, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to come up from the bottom. And I just have some brown yarn here. You want to leave a tail on the back. And when I make a French knot, I like to make a little loop. That way I don't lose that French knot down in the yarn, the fabric of the yarn, okay? So now I'm going to put 3 wraps on my hook, or I'm sorry, on my needle. And we're going to go right in the center. And now it looks like a little flower, all right? So now I'm going to go through a few stitches going through the back, but don't let your stitches be seen on the front. And we'll do it again. We'll come up. We'll make a little loop. 3 wraps on my needle. And we'll go right down in there. And now I have 2 flowers. All right. So then we'll do the same thing. We'll go through some of the stitches on the back of our work, not going through the front. Okay, and after I do this, I always take a look to see if it shows. Okay, we'll come up again through. We'll make that little loop. And just an FYI, when I'm working, like when I used to do embroidery and stuff, I didn't make that little loop. I only do it if I'm working on a crochet or knit or something where that French knot will just slide right through. Okay? Because this is the center of our flower. We want it to be seen. All right, so we've got all three of my French knots on there. They look like cute little flowers. Alrighty, and so now I'm just going to weave this in, making sure that I stay in the back and don't go through the front of those stitches. Alright, and then I'll cut it. And then I need to weave this one in as well, and we'll put the back on our coffee cup. I have tidied up the back of my cup. Looks nice and neat now. And I love how it turned out. I love that teal in the top there and the three flowers. I think it looks adorable. And of course, if 3 flowers isn't enough, you can always add as many flowers as you want to. All right? You could do a whole row across the top if you wanted. Or maybe start with 1 down here and have 4. Doesn't matter. All right, so the next thing we need to do is to cut our piece of felt that we're going to put on the back. And I've already got mine cut. And what I do is I lay it on the piece of felt, I draw around it, and then I cut smaller so that it fits in the back, because we want to have a little bit of space at the top there so we can pin that onto our pillow or hanger if we want to. I'm always making 2 so I can show you 2 styles. That way I can put one on my fridge as well. All right, so you peel the back off. It's nice and sticky. I line it up right underneath that last row and just give it a good hard press, and they stick like crazy. I have never had one come off the back yet. Okay, and see how much stiffer it makes that? It just makes it nice and sturdy for whatever we want to do with it. Now, like I said, I'll use this. I'll put this on and I'll go through the back and just go through some of those stitches if I can. There we go. Like this, just to attach it onto the pillow or onto my hanger. Now you can use a safety pin, you can use Velcro, whatever you want to use. I just wanted to make it so that I could take it off and on at my convenience. All right, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to put the magnet on. So I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to grab my magnet. And I've got my hot glue ready to go. I'm going to see if it's nice and hot yet. Yes, it is. And I like to put a big old gloppy gloop on there. And you can see this is a cool shot. It's not a real hot one. And then I'll just push that magnet on there and give it a good squeeze. I like for it to come up around the sides. I'm going to put a little more on the sides, because I think that holds it better if it comes up a little on the sides. There we go. All right, now that needs to dry, of course. But here's our other one. I'm going to turn it over, but I'm not going to set it down. So now I have 2 coffee cups with flowers. All right, so here are my 2 Mayflowers coffee mugs. I love how they turned out. The different colors make them look different. This one I'm going to put on my pillow or my hanger. And this one I'm going to put on the fridge because I put the magnet on the back. Aren't they fun? I just love the Mayflowers coffee cup.